Hi, I'm Pattu from freefincal. So, Parikh Flexi Cap reopens. What does this mean for investors and what investors should know before going back to the fund? So, they have reopened primarily because the Flexi Cap fund is their flagship fund, it's their main fund, it's their main source of income. They have a very steady revenue source of AUM coming in regularly every day, and if they are going to stop that, then it's a big loss for them, because unlike HDFC or SBI, they don't have 100 funds. They just have a few of them, and only one of them is really popular. So that's the reason why they have reopened. But they have to ensure that all the new AUM that comes in from March 15th onwards has to be invested only in Indian equity and not in international equity. Well, that is also expected, because they cannot breach the limit, the overseas investment limit. Now, let's look at some frequently asked questions on this matter. Is the AMC allowed to do this? Yes, they can definitely do this, because the Flexi Cap fund is a go anywhere fund. They can invest 0 to 35% in overseas equity, they can invest 0 to 35% in bonds. So at times the Flexi Cap fund can also behave like a aggressive hybrid fund. So they can definitely do this. Is this not a change in fundamental attribute of the fund? Technically, legally, no, because the fund can invest 0 to 35% in overseas equity. Of course, it is a change in the character, it is a deviation in the character of the fund, and because the new AUM will not be invested in overseas equity, and if the overseas investment limit is not enhanced by RBI for a long time, then the overseas exposure of Parikh will gradually reduce, and this way it will change in character. That much is sure. How can the AMC do this without the consent of the unit holders? This is a question somebody asked. Now, this is not a change in fundamental attribute. So, they are not going to do anything that they have not mentioned in the scheme information document. So, it's not a problem. Even for fundamental attribute changes, the unit holder should only be given a exit load free window and be informed. They only need to be informed. That is all. Consent is not necessary. Consent is necessary from unit holders only for closing the scheme. Even today, let us say I am holding a bond fund, and tomorrow I want to change it into a small cap fund. I don't need the consent of the unit holders. I just need to inform them, I am going to do this. If you want, you get out. Quant did it. Quant small cap today was a bond fund a couple of years ago. So consent is really not necessary. That is the SEBI structure. What can you do? How will this affect the returns? See, this is the historical exposure of Parikh Flexi Cap. It's a good thing that the current exposure is close to the maximum allowed exposure of 35%. It's close to about 30%, 29, 20, about something like that. So that is a good sign, because they are going to hold this, and gradually this will come down in the next few months as the inflows come in. So the foreign exposure is going to come down. So what does this mean? The volatility in the NAV may increase a little bit. See, Parikh Flexi Cap is well known for its low volatility. One part of that low volatility comes from overseas stocks. Only one part. Don't assume that everything, the fund's risk and reward, everything comes from international equity. That is wrong. After all, the Flexi Cap fund is a primarily Indian equity fund. So the majority of the returns and the majority of the risk management comes from managing Indian stocks. So the volatility in the NAV may increase a little bit because of the foreign equity is going to reduce. The return may come down. The ability of the fund to consistently outperform Nifty 500 total returns index, something that it has been doing well so far, can decrease. These are the implications, but we don't know. I mean, how the markets are, how they are going to pick stocks. They may do better than before, or they may do worse than before. Nobody knows about how the future will pan out. Now, please recognize that you should not be investing in Parikh Flexi Cap for the for the only reason that they are holding overseas equity. That should not be your only reason to invest in that fund. That's wrong. You have to treat it as a kind of a flexible hybrid Indian equity fund. So if I would recommend that you continue investing if you are an existing investor in the fund, but have slightly lower expectations of reward and risk management. Now the AUM was also increasing quickly, so the law of averages, that is what goes up will come down kind of situation will happen for this fund also. So don't expect the performance of the fund to sustain. Though immediately you can't say it's because they stopped investing in foreign equity. That is, we can't make those kind of predictions because the majority of the money is in Indian stocks. So that much is important. Now, I have already told you about my holdings in the previous video. I hold about 58% of the Parikh Flexi cap in my equity mutual fund retirement portfolios, 26% in HDFC hybrid equity, and 16% in quantum long-term equity. Since I have started investing in UTA low volatility index, it has got about a share of about 1%, 1.5%, something like that. So in the future, I will continue to invest in Parikh Flexi Cap, HDFC hybrid equity, and UTA low volatility. But the amount I put into Parikh will come down, will not be as much as I did in the past because I have too much of concentration risk in with the Parikh that has to come down. So you will have to make a call depending on your situation.